Rev up your engines!
Chad said, picking up a brand new Mazda, do you recommend changing the engine oil after 1,000 miles to the original oil from the factory? Well, you know, back in the day, we used to do it a lot of time. A lot of people don't do it anymore, but from what I've seen people have been doing lately, I would. Look at Toyota. They have to replace over 100,000 of those V6 twin-turbo engines because there were oil shavings because they made the stupid engines in Alabama. Hyundai, Kia, they had problems in Alabama, right, with metal shavings in the vehicles coming apart. Same thing. Kind of bizarre, different companies. Same problem making stuff in Alabama. Kind of makes you wonder, right? But just in case there were any loose metal parts, yeah, you change it after 1,000 miles, it'll be gone. So it's not a bad idea. Then do it every 5,000 miles. Yeah, that makes the most sense. Well, he says, what do you think about J.D. Power saying the Range Rover was the most dependable SUV? There must be money changing hands on that one, right? Those are the most money-hungry, endless money pits of any vehicle you've ever seen in your life. J.D. Power's, hey, basically they're an advertising company. They'll say what everybody pays them to say, right? I wouldn't believe a word that they say. Not one single word. Those are not, and what's it based on? Some of it is like initial quality. What, the first second you own the vehicle, right? I love it when they say, this 2024 car is the best car in the market. It's 2024 now. They're new. Who knows? What if it falls apart in the next 2 or 3 years? Right? You can't believe anything those people say. Sharon Jean says, what car angers you the most? Well, they don't really anger me because I don't buy bad cars. I've had customers very angered at their cars. There's no arguing that. A guy recently came and he said the absolute worst vehicle he ever had, it was a rolling pile of crap, was the Jeep Renegade. You know the song, Renegade, Renegade, Jeep Renegade. Jeep Renegade is rebadged Fiat, four-wheel drive Fiat vehicle. They sell them in the United States, they call them Jeeps. They have nothing to do with Jeeps, all Italian crap, right? And people that own them, man, they were mad. Well, it's a toss-up between that and people who actually bought Fiat 500s in the United States when they sold the gasoline models. I had one guy bought it for his daughter, 5,000 miles. She's driving it to college and the engine blows up on the way to college. I mean, they were just rolling piles of junk. They don't get me angry per se because I don't buy them. I buy Toyotas and Lexus. They don't give them to me. I buy them, you know. I don't take perks like that. I buy the things, and I'm happy with them. Buy them used, save a bunch of money. But the people that bought those cars, they were certainly angry. Firestar says, Scotty, looking to get a new car, found a really good-looking, low miles, well-maintained 2021 Audi A7 with 20,000 miles. I came from a 2016 Passat. Thoughts? Well, they're very similar. They're both made by Volkswagen, you know. A7s have one of the worst records. They are one of the lowest-selling cars now. They were in the top 10 in the United States as the least sold cars. They're extremely unpopular because they break. They cost so much money to fix. I personally would not buy it. I just wouldn't. But then again, you got a 2016 Volkswagen Passat. If you were happy with that and it's really low mileage and you can get it cheap, go ahead. Realize they have no resale value. They can't sell the new ones. The used ones are even worse. If you could get it dirt cheap, you don't mind toying with an expensive to maintain Audi, but I personally wouldn't. FRMster says, is it worth fixing a bad head gasket on my 2013 Toyota Avalon Hybrid? The head gasket is blown. I've already dumped $1,500 in it. Is it worth fixing? The problem is you've got a 2013 Toyota Avalon Hybrid. It's got a gasoline motor and an electric motor. The gasoline motor is not a normal gasoline internal combustion engine. It is what is called an Atkinson cycle internal combustion engine. There's a lot of differences. Very, very few mechanics have the ability or the interest in putting head gaskets and rebuilding those engines. I had a customer with one, and I told him, look, your head gasket's blown. I put some sealer in it. It actually sealed it, so he's driving out. But he said, what if I want to fix it? I said, well, call up the Toyota. The Toyota dealer wanted like $5,500. It's a lot of money, a little four-cylinder engine, right? And I called all around for the guy, and nobody in Nashville would touch it, other than the dealerships, because they said, we don't work on Atkinson cycle engines. We don't work on Atkinson cycle engines. That's the problem with buying a hybrid vehicle. It's not only the complexity of the electric motor system, it's also that they use Atkinson cycle engines. They are different than normal combustion engines. They're harder to rebuild. You have to have more expertise and more tools and more computer systems in order to do them correctly. So when the engines do go, you'll probably find it's going to cost you more money than it's worth. Now, you have 331,550 miles on it. I would definitely say just dump the car or put a used engine in because your head gasket's blown, right? Hey, everything else is worn too. The bearings, the pistons, the cams. You'd really have to rebuild the whole engine, and that costs a small fortune. So I would not put just a head gasket in, but hey, if you could find a decent used engine, you could go that route. Okay, here's a hilarious one. Stellantis is suing a fourth supplier over price hikes. They want to make things as cheap as possible. So they don't make many parts. They don't even make the gas tanks for some of their cars, right? So the company that makes the gas tanks says, it's costing us too much to make them. We got to raise the price. And Fiat says, no, you're breaking our contract, and they're suing them. Hey, they keep raising the price of their stinking vehicles, right? And hilariously enough, the Stellantis vehicles in the United States 2024 this year, their sales are going down the toilet. Some of them are 39, 45% less than last year. Nobody's buying their crap, so what are they doing? They raise the price of it to try to make more money, and then they complain about their suppliers raising prices to them. Hey, slovenly corporate people, if you don't like it, build your own gas tanks. Right? The only reason they outsource it is because it's cheaper. Henry Ford didn't outsource this when he was making Model Ts. He made the windshields. He made everything because then he controlled the process. If you're going to depend on other people, hey, you're raising the price of your cars to people. Of course, the people selling you parts to build the cars, they're going to raise their prices too. They buy gas tanks from the Spectra company. And the Spectra company said, hey, it costs more to make. We got to raise the price. And they're saying that, Spectra's holding them hostage. If they don't get the gas tanks, they can't sell the vehicles. Hey, the vehicles aren't selling anyways. Maybe it's a good thing. They don't build cars that people aren't buying. It's better than building cars that people aren't buying and you're stuck with them. The lawyer for Stellantis says they won't ship the gas tanks in order to try to extract massive price increases out of Fiat Chrysler. Yeah, well, they want massive price increases from the stupid cars. Too bad, right? Oh, gee, there's the pot calling the kettle black. Look at the price of one of these Jeep Grand Wagoneers. They're like $124,000. Who are they fooling? No wonder they're not selling too many of them. But thank goodness, finally, there's some logic in the legal system. An Oakland County judge denied the request. And Stellantis will either have to pay up or get ready to shut down production for the time being. Ha, ha, ha. Good for the judge. Hey, it's business. Things cost more, you got to pay more. If you don't like it, hey, stop making them. Well, I was reading some science news, and now some scientists claim they have a super lubricious coating that radically drops the friction between metal parts. The scientists are using bio-waste from cassava plants, and they've created a coating that they say almost eliminates all the friction in metal parts. So things last longer, you get better gas mileage, less friction, right? Now, previously, the same process could be used on a micro level, very tiny, but now they say they can do it on a macro level, coat gears, pistons, whatever with them. It comes out that about 30% of the energy used in your car is taken by friction. It takes 30% of the energy to overcome the friction of all the parts. And if you can lower that, it's a big deal. So they've created this super lubricating coating that they can put on, right? Now they say that it remains on after 150,000 cycles of running and shutting off under normal conditions, whatever that means. Okay. Well, I always laugh at these things because, do you remember the Chevy Vega? What the Chevy Vega was? Chevy made a cast aluminum block 4-cylinder engine. While aluminum soft, the pistons would eat it up fast. They coated the aluminum block, but unfortunately after 20 to 40,000 miles, the coating wore out, and the Vegas burn oil like mad. You see oil smoking out of the back of them. I had friends that bought them. They had to carry a gallon of oil in the trunk. Every time they put in gasoline, they had to put oil in the engine, or the engine would blow up because it burnt so much oil. Well, all I got to say is these coatings, and they say they're going to save the planet, to me, a lot of it is a bunch of nonsense because the coatings do end up wearing off, and they wear off generally a lot faster than what they say, because they said 150,000 cycle under normal conditions. Well, what is a normal condition? It's real hot inside an engine, right? That's not a normal condition. So I wouldn't hold my breath on this super lubricity thing saving us all by making pretty much frictionless engines. I don't think it's going to happen for quite some time. An interesting idea, but as it comes with most coatings, the coatings always come off. Here's a hilarious one. Old Elon just debuted the world's dweebiest nightclub in Berlin Gigafactory that they have there, right? People weren't letting him in some big party place that he wanted to go. So he built his own in the factory. I guess they got a lot of empty space because nobody's buying the stupid Teslas. So now he's opening a nightclub. Let's look at it in historical context. Remember, Nero fiddled while Rome burned. Well, maybe Elon will be dancing while Tesla burns in his nightclub that he made in his gigafactory in Berlin. Now, the club is named Hamster. Right away, it has some strange and kind of weird connotations, if you know what I mean. So, here's a hilarious thing. Tesla's laying off employees, but he's opening up dance hall in his factory in Berlin, right? Oh, maybe he'll change his mind and say, I'd be the richest man in the world. All I have to do is make big nightclubs everywhere and make them look at the money people make in nightclubs. Why build cars? Entertain people in nightclubs instead. Man, the guy comes up with some weird ideas. You got to give him that. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.